celebrating junior bowling, elevating junior bowlers. This is Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Today on Prodigy, it's our final double ball elimination of the season. This time with redemption frames. Live on tape from Brunswick's own Roswell, it's Prodigy Bowlers Tour, a series of unofficial, informal, and impromptu after-league challenge matches.
Gotta have them all.
You've seen us bring you the single ball elimination.
And he gets them all.
You've seen us bring you the double ball elimination.
Oh, he gets the messenger.
Today, we add yet another twist to the mix. It's a double ball elimination, but this time, we'll be giving those players who were eliminated a couple of chances to get back in 2 redemption frames. We've got 16 players today, including 3 coaches. So rather than make you sit through a lengthy player introduction segment, let's get right to the action, and we'll introduce the players as they come up to bowl in frame 1. So here we go with the elimination frames. Now, before we get started, let's go over the rules. They're not too complicated, and we'll walk you through them as we go along. But they work like this. In each frame, the players still in the competition throw 1 ball. The player with the low pinfall drops into the elimination bracket. And once there are 2 players in the elimination bracket, each frame will end with them throwing 1 more ball, and the player with the low pinfall that time is out. Except through the competition, there will be 2 redemption frames in which we give all the players previously eliminated or sent to the elimination bracket a chance to get back in. They'll each throw a ball in the redemption frame, and the high pinfall will rejoin the others back in the competition. Once we're down to just 2 players, they'll finish things off with a 1-game match to decide today's winner. Now, the order of play was determined by throwing all the names in a hat, and they were drawn out at random. And look who's first. It's Coach John, making his first appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Bronze certified, last known league average 180. Crossing over and gets 9.
Might be enough.
You won't have to shoot it. 9 is usually enough in these single and double ball elimination matches. And now here's Mark. You've seen Mark on the show before. 15 years of age, carries a 173 average. And there's 8, and I'm sure he'll be glad to know that he's not going to have to shoot the 8-10. All these ball returns are not made for 16 players, even if they're just throwing 1 ball. You put these 16 players on a single ball return in most tournaments where they're carrying 2, 3, 4, 6 balls, and you'd have balls coming out your ears. You know Tristan, he's been on just about every show we've done this year, a 198 average at Brunswick's own Roswell. No, hold it. Yikes. Don't see those from Tristan very often, but a wild one, and he gets just 7, and we'll see if that holds up. Well, now here's a player you're not familiar with. ALLISON, making her first appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, a 131 average from Cherokee Lanes in Canton, Georgia. She don't bowl like a 131 average, though.
Josh, then Gilbert, then Hunter.
So ALLISON is safely on to frame 2. Josh, you know, 17-year-old, carries a 215 league average at Brunswick's own Roswell. and leaves the weak 10.
Got to not be the low man. Gilbert, then
But that's good enough to move on to the next frame.
Go, Gilbert!
Now, you've seen Gilbert before on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. He's 13, bowls over at Brunswick Zone Lilburn, carries a 176 average. Yowza.
That's enough. That's enough.
The dreaded pocket 710. And another one that
Aren't you glad you don't have
I'm sure he'll be glad he doesn't have to shoot. Well, everybody knows Hunter, a regular on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Average is up to 147 this year. And you see how he's done it.
We can applaud. We can applaud.
He converted to 2 hands earlier this season. All right, Melissa had never bowled in a league until this season. Joined one at Fort Gordon Lanes in Augusta. Carries an average of 178.
Wait, they're still falling.
A little extra pin action, and she gets 7. And right now, 7 is the bubble number. Tristan and Melissa are low at the moment.
Nolan.
Nolan!
And now it's up to Bowlin' Nolan. Where's Nolan? Has Christian gone looking for him? Where's Nolan? Oh, Amanda has spotted him.
Come on, Christian! Thanks!
All right, next time we're going to take the camera into the restroom.
Give him a hand.
Better late than never.
Into the bathroom.
All right. Well, Nolan is 16. He averages 180 in our Roswell Varsity League, one of our regulars on Prodigy. And that one sails left. And another 7 count.
Big log, Coach Gene and Matt.
So right now, Tristan, Melissa, and Nolan are on the bubble. And look who's here. It's Big Logan M. 16 years of age, a 216 average. Bowls out of Stars and Strikes in Cumming, Georgia. And he'll call that a stone 8. Hey, it's 9, and that's all he needs.
Ben McFluff.
All right. If you've watched Prodigy religiously since last year, you may remember seeing Coach Gene. He was on one of our previous single ball eliminations back last summer. He's a bronze certified coach and has a league average of 185. Coaches here at Brunswick Zone Roswell. And that 4-pin looked like it wanted to fall, but he'll take 9. That's good enough to move on. And now we get our first look at Madison. Now, she bowled a Prodigy event a month or 2 ago, but didn't get through the qualifier. She's 10 years old, bowls over at Cherokee Lanes, carries an average of 132. And she definitely has the most freckles of anyone in the field today.
That's more than enough.
And gets 9, and she is safely on to frame 2.
You're on to the next.
Let's go, Christian!
Everybody's egging him on. It's McFluffy's time. Hopefully they won't give him too hard of a time. Christian's about to turn 15. He bowls at Roswell and carries a league average of 198. Not sure who provided the sound effects there, but I don't think they were appreciated. But he gets 9 nonetheless, and that's enough. And oh my goodness, who did they let in the front door? Oh, look at this picture of fitness. Well, we'll see if this guy can get through it without hurting himself. Yes, I am a silver certified coach, and the last known league average was 217. That was a year ago. I haven't bowled league this year. And the lane shuts down just as the ball arrives. But that's 9 anyway, and it's good enough to move on.
Thank you.
All right. Well, next in the lineup is Amanda. We could see Amanda coming from a mile away with that big giant red bow in her hair today. Somebody pointed her out as she was walking in from the parking lot earlier. And I said, oh my God, look at the size of that bow. Amanda, 12 years old. She bowls over at Cherokee Lanes and has a league average of 159. Hold that one and get 7. So we've got another player in the 7 bundle.
7 for a roll off, 8 to be safe.
And we get our first look at Scott. This is his first time on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Scott will age out of youth bowling come this fall. He carries a 212 average out at Stars and Strikes incoming.
Yes, sir.
And as you can plainly see, he's a solid bowler. So we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 players in the mix with 7. So we've got to break that tie. So it'll be Tristan, Melissa, Nolan, and Amanda. Remember, the low pinfall drops into the elimination bracket. And Tristan hits him thin and watches him spin. That's how it's done.
Okay, Melissa.
So next to go will be Melissa.
Fire one for the girls. Come on.
She's been putting in a lot of time working on her game. And it's paying off. So there's a strike for Melissa. So we're back to Nolan. Bowlin' Nolan. I told him when I was growing up as a kid in Kansas City, there was a local TV show called Bowlin' with Molan, named for a guy named Sam Molan, who was a local TV celebrity in KC. So I think I'm dubbing him Bowlin' Nolan. And that comes up thin, and he gets 7 once again. And that could be a problem. As Amanda will need 8 or better to send Nolan to the elimination bracket. Oh, look out. Oh, there's another 7, and that gives Nolan a reprieve.
Continues between these two.
So Tristan and Melissa are safe. it's Nolan and Amanda who are now vying for the one spot to continue. One of these two is going to drop into the elimination bracket.
Oh my gosh.
There we go.
7 again.
We're not laughing at you, we're laughing with you. No, actually we are.
He's stuck in the 7-7-7 rut.
Don't keep the same thing. I want to be out.
So Amanda needs
You do, you should tell her, get at least 6.
8 to continue. And there's 9. So it's Nolan who is going to drop out. But now this is not a single ball elimination. This is a double ball elimination. So Nolan merely falls into the elimination bracket now. As we move to the right lane for frame 2, Coach John leads off with a strike. Now you notice Nolan's name in red on the scoreboard. That simply means we will skip him and somebody else will drop into the elimination bracket to bowl against him. There's Mark getting 9. Now I got to tell you, this right lane, the reset button didn't work, so we're just editing out all of the balls that are thrown down the lane to cycle the machine. Tristan with a solid strike. And pretty sure that Nolan had his caffeine today. Allison crosses over and gets a strike. So she's safe. Right now, Mark is the man on the bubble with 9. We'll see what Josh can do over here on the right lane. He does what he always does. And a solid strike for Josh. Well, that's 4 out of 5 strikes so far this frame. That's pretty good. So Gilbert searching through an array of bowling balls to find one that fits. And he says, I'll take this one. And another solid one right in the pocket. All right, well, can Hunter keep pace? Uh-oh, this one comes up a little high, and look who's got 8 now. That means Mark is safe. And we skip ahead because we had to reset the rack. And Melissa is next to go. Uh-oh. Well, now Hunter is safe. And Melissa is on the bubble with just 6. We will skip Nolan. We'll come back to him when we know who is going to drop into the elimination bracket with him. Right now, it looks like it might be Melissa. There's a solid strike by Big Logan.
Way to go, Big Log. Coach Gene. Then Madison.
So next up is Coach Gene, and all he needs is 7 to safely move on to frame 3. And there's 7 and then some.
Come on, Madison.
Come on, Madison. Got this.
So next to go will be Madison. Not only does she have the most freckles in the field, but I'm pretty sure she's the littlest player in the field. And maybe the cutest. There's 8, and that's good enough.
I'm the bomb, man.
And now we reset the rack on the right lane, and Christian is set to go. Once again, the number to beat is 6. And that is more than enough.
Yeah!
So I just toss one down the lane. Look at this. This may be the best shot I throw all day. As we mentioned, the reset button on the right lane is not working, so we had to just toss something down to cycle the machine, and now I'm set to go, needing more than 6 to continue. Oh, got away with it and broke the lane in the process. But that was 7. It was enough. Now Amanda crosses over and gets 8. That's plenty. So last to go in the lineup is Scott. 6 for a roll-off, 7 to move to frame 3. No problem. And Scott is safely on to the next frame. So it looks like it's going to be Melissa with the low pinfall this frame. So she will fall into the elimination bracket. And she will bowl Nolan. And one of those two will be eliminated.
Did Nolan leave?
Melissa will be first to go because her name appeared earlier in our original lineup.
He's over there recharging his back.
Oh, and she mixed them up. That looked like it was out in the weeds, but she brought it back. And now Nolan needs a strike just to continue.
Logan was the first little one. Yeah, he had more right. He was the first one eliminated, and he kept surviving the elimination round all the way to the end.
Some of the players who have bowled these single and double ball eliminations with us have said that this is about as much pressure as they ever feel bowling. It's one shot or you're done. Oh, it's just a tick high. And Nolan with that 9 count, it's not enough. And Melissa remains in the elimination bracket while Nolan falls out and he is eliminated. Now, remember, we will have 2 redemption frames during the course of the competition today. And during the redemption frames, all the players who have been eliminated or have fallen into the elimination bracket will have a chance to get back in. So we'll leave Nolan's name on the scoreboard, just dimmed out. And we're back to the top of the order and Coach John. And that one finds the pocket, and he shows everybody that he does know a thing or two about this game. I think we knew that all along. This guy's been around the game for a while and has been coaching for about 16 years. All right, Mark. That's as good a shot as you will see. So Mark finds the pocket and strikes. And now it falls to Tristan to keep this going. And another solid pocket hit.
Way to go. Allison and Josh.
Now, we are bowling on the house shot today, so we expect to see some strikes. We figured if we were going to have this many people, both younger kids, older kids, and us old people, the coaches, we just use the house shot today. Give everybody a chance. Well, that one crosses over, and Allison is left with a 7 count here in frame 3. A 7 count got you into a roll-off before, but you never know. It might get you on to the next frame.
Get in there.
And now Josh. Oh, that went a little bit high, but he tripped out the 4 and 7. So he is safely on to frame 4. And next up in the order is Gilbert. And that comes up a little light, and Gilbert gets 7.
Hey, how you doing?
And he has a pained look on his face, as he knows that may end up in a roll-off. And Hunter is next to go. He crosses over for a strike. So Hunter is safe.
Big log.
I believe Hunter has already bested his previous best in these single and double ball eliminations. Hanging around as long as he has so far. Honestly, this kind of format is the type that we would expect really most anybody could win. Oh, Big Logan wanted us to see his shoes and marvel at them, and they are marvelous. The fast 8 as the 2-pin flies up and around the 4 and 7, but 8 is enough. And so he's safe. Seven is the bubble number. That's the number you want to beat. And Coach Gene beats it easily with a solid strike. So next in the order is Little Madison. That's 8, and that's enough to hang around. Don't let Madison fool you. She bowls in a lot of tournaments. So she is going to be around when it matters. I asked her on this day, what do you want to be when you grow up? And she said, a pro bowler. All right, McFluffy, let's see what he's got in the tank. More sound effects. He says, that's what you get. And he gets the messenger. All right, let's see what this guy can do. Every once in a while he throws a good one. Not that often, though. Oh, how about that one? I'm surprised anytime they all go down when I throw it. That ball just keeps getting heavier each year. There's a crossover for Amanda, and she's safely on to the next frame. So as it stands right now, we've got two players sitting at 7. One of them will end up bowling Melissa, unless Scott dips below 7 here. Would he do that? No, I don't think so. Not this time. So Scott is safely on to frame 4. And we've got a roll-off between Allison and Gilbert. The 2 7s. Well, through the nose, and she's got 2 standing, so you see we notate that with the 8 out to the right of the score sheet. And Gilbert needs to beat 8 to continue. And he doesn't really want to shoot that spare.
He wanted to get spotted 8 pins to start with.
8 would keep the roll-off going. 9 would send him on to frame 4. 7, and he would be bowling Melissa to be eliminated. But that's a strike, and Gilbert is safe. And on to frame 4. So we have our 2 players set for the double ball elimination in frame 3. Melissa, who's already thrown 1 that sent her into the elimination bracket. And now Allison, who joins her. We will see her name pop up in red. There it goes. One of these 2 will be eliminated. Allison or Melissa. Oh, that slipped off her hand. Oh, it slipped off her hand, and that's 5. Well, you would expect that Melissa ought to be able to handle that. But every now and then, these kids that throw the big hook ball occasionally get a little wild with it and send it just a little too wide. And it sails off into Never Never Land. So we'll see what Melissa's got up her sleeve here. That's 7, and that's enough. So Melissa remains the eliminator, and Allison is the eliminated. So we'll drop her name into the dimmed black. Melissa remains in red, and we're back to the top of the order, and Coach John will lead off in frame 4. A high hit. He might not like that if it was In a regular game, he'd have to shoot that 2-7 baby split, but as it is, that's 8. Will it be enough? Mark crosses over, gets 9, and he's safe. Now again, we do a little creative editing here because the right lane, the reset button, doesn't work. So rather than showing you all the balls we have to throw to cycle the machine, we just skip ahead. There's Tristan with a 9 count, and he's safely on to frame 5. Next to go will be Josh.
What are you doing? Christian, what are you doing?
Pins just have no chance when you throw it like that. That guy throws a lot of ball. All right, next to go is Gilbert. He had quite a march on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Oh, comes up high, but he splits the 4 and 7, and they both go down. So that's a strike, and he's safe. So it's Hunter who's next. And that ball crosses over, and he manages to get 9 out of it, so that's enough. So again, we skip Melissa. She'll be among the last to go. Nolan's out, so it's Big Logan who's next. Uh-oh. That's 6. And it'll be Coach Gene who's next, as Big Logan will be stewing over in his seat. Not a happy camper. That gets up just enough, and he gets 8. And both of our coaches who have bowled thus far are safe. Now, Madison. And there's a 6 count. And she's not happy about it. And it'll be Christian who is next to go. McFluffy. Little extra heckling going on today. That's one of the things that makes these single and double ball eliminations a lot of fun.
Drink church.
Christian showed him that time. Well, 6 is the bubble number. Gotta beat 6 to be safe. A ridiculously horrible shot is good enough. And now Amanda is up. And she manages to get 8 through the darkness And what's going on, the reason why the machines are blacking out like that is because we're continuing to bowl on one lane and the scoring doesn't understand. It thinks we've just quit bowling because it's calling for a player to throw a shot on the other lane. So it's conserving power is what's going on. And Scott gets all 10, so he's safely on to frame 5. So that leaves 2 players with 6. And you talk about David and Goliath, or in this case, Davidia and Goliath. Big Logan against Madison. Is this even a fair fight? Well, they tied on the first ball. And Big Logan gets them all to fall some way, somehow. And now Madison is going to need to match it or she falls into the elimination bracket. A pretty good shot, just a little high. And Madison, with that 8 count, will fall into the elimination bracket. She's not done yet. She might survive yet. It's going to be Melissa against Madison. One of these two will be done. Melissa first to go. And Melissa finds the pocket, and everybody's ganging up on poor little Madison. And Madison's like, did you have to do that?
All right, Madison. Come on, Madison. Let's go.
But Madison can do this, I'm telling you. She's giving it a little meditation here. Will it help? She needs all 10. Oh, she gets close. Almost got the crossover, but that 9 count is going to spell the end for Madison unless she gets back in through the redemption frames. So we move on to frame 5, back to the top of the order, and Coach John. He gives it a little traffic cop action, and the ball obeys his order. I got to learn that trick. Next to go is Mark. And Mark crosses over, gets 8. Will it be enough? There's no telling. So Tristan, who's been on just about every Prodigy episode this year, I guess there have been a few that he's missed, but he's been steady all year. There's a strike for Tristan, and he's safe. Next up is Josh. And that one creeps high. He breaks down the spare to get 9, and that's good enough. And rather than hitting the reset button, Gilbert just throws a ball down there to cycle the machine. That's what we've been doing on the right lane all day because the reset button won't work, which is why we've been editing out some bits of time when we're up on the right lane. It's not that we're not wanting to show you everything. It's just there's nothing to see here. Move along. And also shortens the show considerably by cutting out all the superfluous stuff. There's a strike for Gilbert, and he is safe. So 8's the number to beat. But Hunter doesn't beat it. So we've got 2 stuck at 8 at the moment. So Melissa is on deck waiting for the elimination bracket. Nolan is out, so it's Big Logan's turn. I'm guessing he's a country music fan. What do you say? Got that Toby Keith shirt on. Now, I don't think I would have bet that Big Logan could leave a 5-pin, as much hand as he puts on the ball. But you saw it with your own eyes. But 9 was enough, and now Coach Gene is up. And he mixes them up. Coach Gene with a wall shot and a strike. So now we will skip Madison, who was eliminated in the last frame. And it's Christian's turn. Christian rocking his new haircut. I used to call him Curly. He got his haircut so short, he reminded me of Curly of the Three Stooges. But now he goes for something a little longer than that. But he was letting it grow out for a while. I thought it looked pretty good, to tell you the truth. Well, he takes a 7 count and breaks it down to 9. And he'll take it. That's safe. And now waddling onto the lanes, yours truly. Got to beat 8 to be safe. Oh, trouble. And now we have a new bubble number. And a new bubble boy. That would be me with 7. And only 2 people left to get me off the hook. And Amanda does not help out one bit. I don't know how she got that one to go, but that's a strike. And Amanda is moving on to frame 6. And now my last hope is Scott. And Scott shows no mercy and no respect for his elders. And it's me, moi, who falls into the elimination bracket. And it'll be Melissa, my student, and me. All right, Melissa, go easy on the old guy, will you? One of us will be eliminated right here. Melissa has better ideas as she pours one right in the pocket. So this is what you call a must-strike situation. A strike or you're done. Ooh, pretty good ball. A ringing 10, and that is the end of the line for Coach Randy. Thanks for playing our game. We have some lovely parting gifts. And we move on to the next frame. This is frame 6. And we're back to the top of the order, and Coach John leading off once again. Melissa remains in the elimination bracket. And the pin setters shut off again. It's, as I said, once we keep bowling on one lane over and over, the pin setters think we've stopped bowling.
Oh my God. Thank you so much.
Coach John turns away. He knows that one got away, and he gets 7. And when there is not a strike, we have to just cut forward as the reset button doesn't work. And here's Mark. And another 7 count. So, Coach John, you got company. Next to go on the right lane is Tristan.
Wait, hold on. Let me do that.
And he crosses over, gets 9. That's good enough to be safe. And next in the order is Josh. He's been pretty machine-like most of the day so far. Kind of like that. So it's Gilbert's turn. The number to beat is 7. And he beats it easily. And he likes it. Now Hunter, who was just set to go, and then he decided to do a little housekeeping there on the ball return. Crosses over and gets a strike.
All right, Big Logan,
One thing Hunter has learned early on in his bowling career, he has learned how to run them out. All right, it's Big Logan up on the right lane. See you later, Pins. He steamrolls them. So it's up to Coach Gene to keep this string of strikes going. And somehow he does. Carrying a nosedive. That was 10 in the pit. Eventually.
Don't let the pressure get to you.
All right. Got 5 strikes up. Can Christian make it 6? Yes, he can. He rips the rack.
And that's Scott.
That's some good bowling. And now Amanda. How about a 7th? How about it? Oh, just a little high. Just a little high, and there's an 8 count, but it's good enough to move on to frame 7. Although actually frame 7 will be one of our redemption frames. Now Scott needs 8 or better to be safe. No problem. So we've got a roll-off to determine who is going to drop into the elimination bracket with Melissa. Coach John and Mark both with 7. One of them will continue. The other will bowl Melissa. Got to get up. That's 6. That could be trouble. So Mark needs 7 or better, and he'll be moving on. Well, it wasn't pretty, but that's 9. It's pretty enough. So it's Coach John, whose name is now in red, and he will bowl 1 ball against Melissa. One of these two will be eliminated. And once again, the lights go out on the pin setters, and we just need to push a button on the scoring machine to let the computer know, yes, we're still here. Ooh, just a little high. That was a pretty good ball there. But he leaves the 6-8 split. That's an 8 count. So Melissa needs to beat 8 to remain in the elimination bracket, which is what she wants to achieve right here. Otherwise, she's done. Well, she goes through the nose and crosses over slightly, but that's 9, and it's enough. So now we move on to our first redemption frame of the day. So all the players whose name is in black or red, the players who've been eliminated or are in the elimination bracket, are up. And actually, Coach John should be going first. But it's Allison, and she goes through the nose and gets a strike.
I'm going down.
I think we're going to give Coach John a rest. We'll catch him at the end of the order. Next to go will be Melissa. Now remember, it's just the players who've either been eliminated or are in the elimination bracket. That would be Melissa here. One of these players will get back into the competition. There's a strike by Melissa. Now, if it is Melissa who would happen to win her way back into the competition, if the player who's already in the elimination bracket were to be the one who wins their way back in, then the player who finishes second in the redemption frame would take that spot in the elimination bracket. So as it is right now, if no one else strikes, if it was Melissa who ended up beating Allison, it would be Allison who would take the red spot. Got it? It's a little complicated, I know, but if I can figure it out, anybody can figure it out. All right, next to go is Nolan. Got a strike, or it won't be enough. But he gets a wall shot, and Nolan remains alive for that one spot that will go to somebody who survives the redemption frame. Get a piece of the head pin. She does. She gets 8 and a couple of wiggles. But that is not going to be enough. So again, with 3 strikes already up, only the high pinfall gets back in. So anything less than a strike is see you later. Would have to wait for the final redemption frame. And that won't do.
Okay, so whoever got strikes is still up.
So I'm waiting for the other redemption frame, and we inadvertently skipped Coach John, so he should have gone first. But who's running this railroad?
Oh, yeah, you were eliminated.
Yeah, so it should have been Coach John who led off here, but we're not going to leave him out. So he gets a ball here in the redemption frame with a chance to match those 3 strikes.
So redo the whole thing.
But he must strike. Get up. Oh man, that was close. But 9 will not do, so we've got a roll-off between Allison, Melissa, and Nolan. The 3 strikes in the redemption frame. Only one can win a spot back into the competition. So Allison will be first to throw a second ball until we break this tie. Well, she gets 9. Will it be enough? Again, if Melissa wins her way back into the competition, then it will be the player who finishes second in the redemption frame who takes over that spot in the elimination bracket. Oh, there's 7. And what that means is Melissa will stay put in the elimination bracket. She doesn't give that up, but she's not going to win her way back into the competition. Not this time. It'll be either Allison or Nolan. But Nolan's got to match Allison's 9 for this roll-off to continue, or beat it to get back in. 8 or less, and it's Allison who wins her way back in. There's 9. So the roll-off continues between Allison and Nolan. Melissa remains in the elimination bracket.
One of these 2 is going to get back in.
Well, this is pretty exciting. Will it be Allison or will it be Nolan who gets back into the competition? That's a pretty good ball right there. That's a really good ball. So now all the pressure falls on to Nolan. Bowlin' Nolan. Must strike to continue. And he's going to back off. and start over. He's calling for quiet. He wants quiet in the stands. But he gets 8, and Allison has won her way back in to the competition. And Nolan is eliminated until we have our final redemption frame. Frame 8, Mark leading off. And that ball goes Brooklyn, and he gets 8. And Tristan will be next. And there's a solid strike for Tristan. So he will be moving on to frame 9. And now Allison, who, as a result of the first redemption frame, is back in the mix. And now she will try to make the most of it. And I'd say she does. So she will at least be moving on to frame 9. And now Josh, who once finished 5th at Junior Gold. He said he missed the TV show by missing 1 4-pin. That ball goes high, and looky here, Josh gets just 6, just as I was talking him up. So Mark breathes a sigh of relief, and now Josh in danger of falling into the elimination bracket. There's a trip 4 for Gilbert, and that strike sends him on to frame 9. Next to go is Hunter. And he turns away. He knew that that was at least going to be 6. And it is 9. So now it's Big Logan, or we started calling him Big Log today. That is a solid strike. That would have knocked down 20 pins. So it's on to Coach Gene. 6 is the number you got to beat. And that is good enough. 8 will do. So on to McFluffy.
Don't get 5. Don't get 5. Don't get 5. Don't get 5.
They're chanting, "Don't get 5." Oh, with Christian, you never know. He got 5 times 2. So he's moving on. And now Amanda. And Amanda plows him over.
All right, Scott.
So can Scott beat 6? I would guess he might. Ooh, through the nose. He gets 7. That is enough.
So,
barely.
Josh, say hello to
So Josh is falling into the elimination bracket. And now he will throw one ball, and Melissa will throw one ball, and one of these two is about to be eliminated. That's a solid strike. That might even intimidate some players. Throw one like that in a clutch situation. See how Melissa handles it. Gotta have it. Oh, she gets a crossover. Not her best, but good enough. So they will go again. One of these two will be done. Another one just like the last one he threw. Solid strike. And now Melissa must match it to continue. The lights go out on Melissa as her day is done unless she wins her way back in the final redemption frame. It's Josh with a strike, Melissa with 7, and we move to frame 9. And Josh, say hello to the elimination bracket. Mark gets 8 to lead off in frame 9.
All I can think about is
Will 8 be enough? We'll find out. Well, Tristan takes care of his business. He's safely on to frame 10. And now it's Allison. Allison was done, and then she won her way back in through our first redemption frame. And here she is a couple of frames later. Getting 8. And for now, she and Mark are on the bubble.
Okay, Gilbert, you're up. By the time you come back,
So we skip Josh. He'll bowl after everyone else. Needing 9 or a strike to be safe. He doesn't like it, but he loves it now. I'm not sure what he didn't like about it, but he turned away like he didn't like it. But that was a solid strike as Madison is getting rid of the 4-6-7 over on the right lane. If she makes it this way, she wins my car.
Hey, take it. Never turn it in the car.
And Hunter finds the pocket on the left lane and puts a solid strike up.
Big Logan.
So Mark and Allison continue to sweat, wondering what will come of this. Big Logan says, I am not going to any roll-offs here. And he's safely on to frame 10. So, next up is Coach Gene. Well, the one good thing about eliminating players is we start having more room on the ball return. We don't quite have enough yet, though. That crosses over, and he gets 8. So Mark, Allison, and Coach Gene all in that bundle of players with 8. It's starting to look like that's not where you want to be. Next to go is McFluffy. He threw that one awfully good. Comes up a little high, leaves the 9, and that's 9 pins, and that is enough to move on. So just 2 players left in the lineup, Amanda and Scott. They need 9 or a strike to continue. 8 gets him in the roll-off. 7 is no good. How about all 10?
So we got 8. Mark, Allison.
Give you a good look at that big red bow she's wearing.
Sorry. Never get the one that's fucking. I almost gave you a free pass.
And now Scott.
But we don't give them out quite that easy.
This kid is on the Georgia All-Stars team. That means he's one of the best youth bowlers in the state, going around the Southeast representing the state of Georgia. Throwing shots like that.
All right, now it's Mark, Allison.
So we've got Mark, Allison, and Coach Gene in a roll-off. One of those 3 will drop into the elimination bracket with Josh, and we'll see which one gets eliminated. Mark begins the roll-off with an 8 count. Now remember, you don't have to be high pinfall. You just don't want to be low pinfall. So 8 might get Mark on to frame 10. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. Got to cross over. Well, there's 7. And that could spell trouble for Allison. Mark is safe. He's on to frame 10. Gene needs 8, 9, or 10, and he'll be moving on as well. Oh, look out. Oh, there's 7. And so this roll-off continues with Allison and Coach Gene. Mark is breathing a sigh of relief. See what Allison can do here. Gotta love that swing. It's nice and straight. You get a straight swing in bowling and you can go places. All the rest you can learn, but that straight swing is essential. Coach Gene must strike. He's stuck at the line. He stuck all 10 pins in the pit, too.
Come on, Allison.
So they go to a third roll-off frame. Once again, Allison and then Coach Gene. We're running out of room to mark the count over on the right of the screen. That one drifts high.
7.
And 7. That could be trouble. That is surely not the shot she wanted to throw there.
Chance to get back in.
8, 9, or 10 to move on. 7 would continue the roll-off. Oh, look out. 7. So we ain't done yet.
Make them feel the pressure.
So Allison will give it another go. You have to wonder if she's ever been in a situation with this much pressure. I mean, we're just bowling for giggles, but still. She doesn't show any nerves.
Way to go, kid.
So once again, Coach Gene in a must-strike situation. If he strikes, the roll-off continues. If he doesn't strike, he will face Josh in the elimination bracket. He'll have that one more chance. And if he's eliminated there, he'll have the final redemption frame that's coming up a little later. Must strike. Gonna have to do it on the Brooklyn side. And the 5 remains, and it's Allison who survives a grueling roll-off, and she's safely on to frame 10. And it's Coach Gene who will face the striking machine of Josh. One of those two will be eliminated. Josh is going to make him earn it.
Way to go, Josh.
Well, Josh bowls league here at our center. Coach Gene coaches here at our center. So Coach Gene knows what he's up against with Josh. Gotta have it. The 9 remains, and it's Josh who remains in the elimination bracket. Coach Gene is eliminated. And he will have one more chance in the final redemption frame. That's coming up a little later, but we're on to frame 10. Here's Mark. And he comes up high and gets 8. So Tristan is the next to go. Starting to winnow some players from the field. Tristan snaps the 5 over toward the 7. It goes in front. He gets 9. And that's enough. So it's on to Allison. Eight's the number to beat. And that one was wide of the mark, and now she gets 7.
Gilbert. Yeah, did you hear me? It's actually 7.
So Mark is safe.
The pins that are not good.
Allison with 7. She's the bubble girl for now. That's 9 for Gilbert. He's happy with that. And now Hunter will go for broke. As I mentioned earlier, he's already figured out the run out. He gets 9 and he's safe.
Yeah, I need to do that.
So next up, Big Logan.
Except for her.
And there's another 7. So Allison, you've got company. And now Christian. Now Christian's been eliminated in a couple of these single and double ball elimination events with 5 counts. So look out. He throws a wild one and gets 9 somehow. So Amanda now wanting to beat 7. And she does. Maybe that's her good luck bow. You suppose?
She said to me, doesn't matter, get it.
And now Scott. 8, 9, or 10 would be just groovy here. There's 8, so he's safe. Not by a lot, but he's safe. And we have 2 in a roll-off. The 2 that got 7 are going to have to settle things here. Allison and Big Logan. Allison is listed higher in our batting order, so she'll go first. And she gets 9. So Big Logan needs 9 to continue in the roll-off, a strike to get him on to frame 11. 8's no good. Oh, 8's no good. So it's Big Logan who falls into the elimination bracket against Josh. One of these 2 will be eliminated. Josh gets 9. So Big Logan now will need a strike to take over the spot in the elimination bracket and send Josh home. 9 would keep the roll-off going. 8, and Big Logan's done. 5. Now. That's a 5 count and a disappointing ending to his day. Big Logan will have to wait for our final redemption frame for one last chance. Frame 11. Mark a little high with that hit. Gets 9. 9 has been enough just about every time. Frame 13 will be our final redemption frame. So we've got a little ways to go yet. Well, that goes through the nose, but Tristan somehow manages to get 9 out of it. Of course, the fewer the players, the less likely it is a 9 would be enough. We've seen some of these kids put a bunch of strikes on the board, so you never know. Well, Allison says, I am not being eliminated in frame 11. She's safe.
Gilbert and then Hunter.
So Gilbert is next. He showed his moxie a few weeks ago when he won his last time on Prodigy. That time he's wide of the mark and gets 8, and now that's the bubble number. Mark and Tristan are safe. Gilbert not happy with that one. So Hunter knows what he needs. Got to beat 8. But instead he gets 8. And now Gilbert has company. Christian is next. Wants 9 or a strike. You can't throw it any better than that. He's been bowling pretty well lately. It's got to get over. It does. She gets 9. And Amanda is on to frame 12. And we're on to Scott, our anchor bowler. So the question left is, will Gilbert and Hunter have a roll-off between them? Will Scott join them to make it a 3-way roll-off? Or will Scott undercut them and go straight to the elimination bracket to face Josh? Oh, that breaks high. He gets 8. So it's going to be Gilbert, Hunter, and Scott in a 3-way roll-off.
One of you is going to drop into the elimination bracket.
One of these 3 will face Josh in the elimination bracket. Gilbert gets all 10. So he is not planning on going quietly. Hunter crosses over, gets 9. So Scott needs 9 to stay in a roll-off with Hunter. A strike would eliminate Hunter. 8 would eliminate Scott. Oh, and there's 8. Easy there. You're going to need that hand. You're not quite done yet. Scott will move into the elimination bracket. And he will throw one ball against Josh to see which of the two of them will be eliminated. Well, Josh has just been a machine most of the day today. He just throws those with alarming regularity. It's tough when you're an opponent. It's great when he's your teammate. But right now, Scott must strike to continue. And he comes up high and gets 7. And it's Josh who will remain in the elimination bracket. Scott is eliminated. Now, once again, frame 13 will be our final redemption frame, where everyone who's been eliminated or is in the elimination bracket will have one last chance to get back in. We're on to frame 12. And Mark goes high and gets 7. And that could be trouble. Tristan finds the pocket and sends all 10 pins to bed. And now Allison, who has acquitted herself quite nicely, I would say, here in this, her first appearance on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Oh, look out. Oh, and it hangs out there. She gets 1, and she's stunned. And so is everyone else. Well, we didn't see that coming. But it will certainly make things easier on Gilbert, Hunter, Christian, and Amanda. And Gilbert gets all 10. Hunter, can you beat 1? He knows that's good. He gets 8. Now, the one player in the field that you got to look out for is the guy who's been known to throw him in the gutter every now and then. But you know Christian's thinking about it right now. Keep it between the gray boards. And he gets 9, so Christian is safely on to the next frame. And now Amanda. And that will do as well. So, Allison falls into the elimination bracket and will face Josh. I'd say she's got her hands full here. Oh, and she pulled it. But that's 8. You never know. Josh needs 9 or 10 to move on. And there's a solid 10 pin and a 9 count. And it's Josh who's moving on. Allison is eliminated, and now our final redemption frame. The players who've been eliminated or are in the elimination bracket get one last chance to get back in. Coach John gets 8. Now again, if Josh should happen to be the one who wins his way back in, someone would have to replace him in the elimination bracket, and that someone would be the player who finishes second in this final redemption frame. The high pinfall gets back into the competition. There's 8 from Allison. And now this time we won't skip Josh, because he's in this final redemption frame. He spent the last several frames in the elimination bracket. One ball away from being eliminated. He would love to get back in. And that will help. So what that means is you've got to have a strike to continue. Everybody with less than a strike is done, with no more redemption frames to get in. So Coach John and Allison, their road ends here. Melissa, Nolan, Big Logan, Coach Gene, Madison, me, and Scott all have one more chance. There's a Brooklyn, but Melissa gets them all to go, so she's got the X up. So that means there will be a roll-off. The only question left is who's going to be in it. You got to have a strike to punch your ticket into the roll-off. There's one by Nolan. Bowlin' Nolan is not done. He was the first one eliminated today. Wouldn't it be something if he got back in the final redemption frame and went on to win this thing? That'd be a testimony for redemption, wouldn't it? And with that 8 count, Big Logan M is officially finished for the day. There are no more paths back into the competition after this final redemption frame. So we turn to Coach Gene. He needs a strike to continue. And that goes high, and that's 9, and it's not enough. So Madison will be next to give it a go. She was eliminated pretty early on. Wouldn't it be something if she got back in and went on to win? But that's not going to happen. That 8 count means her day is done. With 3 strikes on the board, it's going to take a strike to get into a roll-off. And oh, look who's next. must strike. How about that one? The old guy gets it done once. So now it's down to Scott and his last gasp. We've got 4 in the roll-off. Will Scott make it 5? Yes! He rolls the 2. So, Josh, Melissa, Nolan, yours truly, and Scott will continue. Just the players who got strikes are still in it. Only one of these 5 players will get back into the competition. And if that player is Josh, then someone else will take his place in the elimination bracket. And Josh gets another strike. So he applies the pressure early. So that means anybody who doesn't strike is done. Unless we would happen to have a tie for second place, we'd have to break that tie to see who's going to continue in the red box. There's 8 for Melissa. Not what she was hoping for. And Nolan will be next to go. If we can find him. Hunter's going to clear the deadwood for us. Although we could have just hit the reset button. The reset button works just fine on the left lane. It's just the right lane that we've been having to roll a ball down the lane. I'm not sure Nolan even realizes he's got to throw another shot. So if we can't find him, we'll just skip him and catch him later. Wait a minute. I just see his head go by at the bottom of the screen. Well, there he is. I don't think he realizes he's up. But we'll skip him for now. There's another strike for Big Boy. How did that happen? So we've got 2 continuing in a roll-off. Scott is next. Either Scott or Nolan, I guess. I guess we're going to get Nolan at the end. Nolan apparently doesn't even realize that he's up.
Yeah, I told him mechanic about it. You need it? Yeah.
Scott must strike. Oh, that was a good shot. But the bowler's nemesis, the ringing 10, puts an end to Scott's day. And now I think Nolan is just now realizing that he missed his turn. So he needs to throw a shot here. And he will need to strike to stay in this roll-off. Josh and Coach Randy are in it. Will Nolan join them? Doesn't get the crossover. That's 9, and he's done. So it's Josh and me continuing. How did that happen? Now again, if it's Josh who wins his way back in, I would take over that spot in the elimination bracket for finishing second. If I would happen to win this roll-off, Josh would stay put in the elimination bracket. But Josh is not going to make it easy. This guy is one tough out, I'll tell you that. One of these two will get back into the competition. The other will take the spot in the elimination bracket. That's how it works. Oh my gosh. We'll go again. Go easy on the old guy, will you? He's not listening. These kids, they never listen. Once again, a must-strike situation to keep the roll-off going. Oh, good luck with this one. Nope, 9, and it's Josh who wins his way back into the competition, but by virtue of the fact that it was the elimination bracket player who won his way back in, the second place player, me, gets into the elimination bracket. So I guess I do get to keep playing. As we move to frame 14, Mark begins with an 8 count. And we're back onto the lane where the reset button doesn't work. So rather than showing you the kids throwing the balls down the lane to clear the deck, which is just confusing and makes the show 3.5 hours, we cut that out. And there's a strike for Tristan. Well done. And now Josh, with his renewed spirit, back in the main competition. And he gets 7. And Hunter clearing the deadwood on the left lane because the reset button is just too easy on the left lane. He'd rather throw as many balls as he can in one day. All right, Gilbert up on the right. He didn't like it when he let it go, but he gets 9. And that is plenty good enough. And now Hunter. And that one hooks by and leaves 4 standing. And now Hunter gets 6. Josh is safe after that 7 count. I don't think he was expecting that. And Christian knew that was left as soon as he let it go, but he gets them all. And now Amanda. She gets 9, and she's on to frame 15. So it's going to be Hunter and Coach Randy in the elimination bracket. He gets that one way out to the right. It comes roaring back, and he gets 7. And now can the old guy beat 7? Sometimes, on his good days. There's 9.
Sorry, Hunter.
And yes, well, I really didn't want to eliminate Hunter, but I don't give him away. All right, Mark, leading off in frame 15. And you can't throw it any better than that. So now it's Tristan. Oh, look out. And that one sails wide, and he leaves the washout, gets a 6 count. And that could be trouble. Low pinfall, drops into the elimination bracket, where if you're low pinfall again, you're done. Josh, with that rev rate, he just makes the pins dance. And he gets that strike, and now it's Gilbert. Needing 7 or better to move on to frame 16.
To avoid a roll.
It looked like he fell off balance. Maybe he's stuck at the foul line or something, but he got a strike. And now Christian looking around for something. I'm not sure, maybe his chamois? To wipe the oil off of his bowling ball. Just needs 7 or better to be safe. That is plenty good enough. It's not pretty, but it's effective. And now Amanda. And Amanda labels the pocket. And it's Tristan who falls into the elimination bracket to face yours truly.
So it's Tristan and me.
So it's going to be the guy with the 6 count.
Yeah, turn it on.
Against the guy whose age starts with a 6. And that's as much detail as I'm going into on that subject. Oh, he's wide again. Gets 7 this time. He hated it as soon as he threw it. He turned around knowing that was not going to get back. Tristan's a better bowler than that. I will say that as we have cut out so much time on this show by editing out all the second ball throws on the right lane when there were pins left standing, we've shortened this show considerably. These kids have been out here bowling for almost 3 hours already. This has been longer than we expected, and Tristan's attention may be waning. Somehow I managed to get them all to go again, and that's the end for Tristan today.
Total accident.
And now we move to frame 16. Mark goes Brooklyn, missing the head pin. That wasn't Brooklyn. That was all the way to Buffalo, I think. So a 7 count. Might be trouble. Josh gets all 10, so he's safe. We're getting down to the final few now. And Gilbert will be next to go. He wipes down that urethane ball and takes dead aim. And trips the 4 in the process. So Mark now, the man on the bubble.
We will take this through the end of
And Christian gets 9, and that's good enough to get him on to the next frame. Amanda gets all 10, so she's safe, and it's Mark and me who go to the elimination bracket. Mark with his 7 count, and one of us will be eliminated. Mark gets 9. So I need at least 9 to continue. A strike, and Mark will be done. But instead, I get 7, and I'm done. And that is all she wrote for Coach Randy. So now Mark is in the elimination bracket, and we move to frame 17. And Josh rips the rack. Starting to sound like a broken record. Josh strikes again. Gee, what a surprise. And now it's Gilbert. And there's a strike for Gilbert. And as I said, when you get down to just a few, well, any little mistake can mean the end. And the action starts to move a lot quicker here, too. There's a strike for Christian. Talk about putting pressure on Amanda. Either strike or move to the elimination bracket. No! And she goes through the nose. And there's the old Greek church.
Mark and Amanda.
And so it's going to be Mark and Amanda to bowl it off here in the elimination bracket. And Amanda wants to go ahead and shoot the Greek church, and why not? Doesn't mean anything. It'll be Mark first, and then Amanda, because that's the order they appear in the batting order. Well, he crosses over and somehow manages to get 9 out of that, so Mark with better count than perhaps he was expecting there. And Amanda has to match that to continue, or strike to send Mark home. But that's 8, and that is the end of the line for Amanda. She took off her bow. I wonder if that was bad luck. Don't know, but Mark remains in the elimination bracket, and now we're down to just 4 players. Josh will lead off in frame 18. And there's 8. Gilbert next to go. And there's a ringing 10 and a 9 count, so Gilbert is safe. And now Christian. Eight's a roll off. 9 is safe.
Very careful with this.
Oh, but 5 is no good. And this is the 3rd time McFluffy has found himself getting a 5 count in one of these single or double ball eliminations. So now it's Mark and Christian in the elimination bracket. And Mark crosses over for a strike. So Christian in a must-strike situation. Strike or go home. Oh, and he threw it good. How about that one right there? He sweeps him off. And this will continue for at least 1 more ball from each player. It's back to Mark. One of these 2 will be eliminated. Mark goes high and gets 8. So that means that Christian is going to need 8 to continue the roll-off, 9 or a strike, and he will send Mark home. There's 9, and that ends Mark's day. And then there were 3 as we move to frame 19, and this will decide who is going into the championship match for all the cheese in today's double ball elimination with redemption frames. Josh leading off. And he keeps on doing what he's been doing. Josh with a powerful strike in a crucial situation. As Christian clears off the deadwood, so there are no distractions on the right lane for Gilbert. That's 9, and that means Gilbert falls into the elimination bracket and will bowl Christian to decide which of these 2 is going to bowl Josh. Josh is already in the championship match. The question is, who is he going to bowl? Gilbert or Christian? One of these 2 will finish 3rd. Not his best, but it's good enough for a strike. A crossover. Well, that's what Mark did to Christian a little while ago. Christian matched him. He needs a strike right here, or he's done. But it's high, and Christian finishes third. It's Gilbert who's moving on to the championship match. It'll be Josh versus Gilbert to decide things today on Prodigy. Each week, we begin the show with a reminder that Prodigy Bowlers Tour is best viewed full screen. And here's a sampling of a few people who get it. They're Prodigy heads, and they wanted the whole world to know that they watch Prodigy each week. They took a selfie in front of their big screen TV, their computer, or their mobile device with Prodigy playing in the background, full screen of course, and sent it in. And you can too. If you want your beautiful face on Prodigy Bowlers Tour, send in your Prodigy selfie. Email it to me at randy@prodigybowlerstour.com. Be sure to include your name, your age, the city where you live, and which episode you're watching. And you might be on our next edition of Prodigy Selfies on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Before we begin the championship match, let's recap how we got here. Standings are based on the last time players were eliminated, as some were eliminated earlier but won their way back in through one of the redemption frames. Nolan has usually been one of the last to be eliminated in most of our previous single and double ball elimination events, but today he was the first to go. And although Madison had the most freckles of any of our bowlers today, she didn't get to bowl the most frames. Coach John made an early exit. Melissa hung in there for a while in the elimination bracket, but was eventually shown the door by Josh. Coach Gene nearly survived a long roll-off, but it may have taken its toll as he then succumbed to the elimination round. Big Logan's dreams of signing the coveted trophy pin today came to a crashing end in an elimination at the hands of Josh. And Scott followed right behind him the next frame. Allison was the first to win her way back into the competition when she won our first redemption frame, but eventually bowed out for 9th place. Hunter made it into the top half of our field for the first time in a single or double ball eliminator. Tristan ran out of gas, finishing 7th. And through the dumb luck of having Josh win his way back into the competition in the final redemption frame, just as I was finishing 2nd in that frame, that enabled me to climb a few spots on the leaderboard. But my fantasy of getting to the final match came crashing down to earth as I finished 6th. Amanda got into the top 5. Mark made it all the way to 4th place. And Christian came up just a couple of pins shy of getting into the final pairing. But now we're on to the championship match, where only 2 remain. Josh, a 3-time winner on Prodigy, will try to make it 4. And Gilbert, who captured 2 Prodigy crowns in the month of March, will try to make it 3 wins this season. It's an all two-handers final today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour. Well, these two were right next to each other in our batting order in the elimination frames, and here we are. Gilbert gets another crossover. He's got that down. We'll watch this one again and get his reaction. You take them however you can get them. So now Josh on the right lane. Oh my goodness. Through the nose. And the 4, 6, 7. What a way to start. A virtually impossible split. You can take the 2 on the left and Try to bounce one out. Mostly just get two. Save the count. And he does, but that's an open frame to begin and an early 11-pin lead for Gilbert. But Josh, pretty mature player for 17 years old. He knows there's a lot of game left. And he trips the 4. And that's one way to claw back into this, is just start stringing them right now. Just tick that 4 from behind, just enough. And Gilbert making a slight correction for those high hits, may have over-adjusted slightly. Comes in light, leaves the 7. Setting his feet. A spare in the second. One of the things we talk a lot about with these youth bowlers, and it's true for bowlers of all ages, you've got to be meticulous about where you put your feet on the approach. One slight move, you got to know exactly what board you're standing on. These players know that if they were to somehow misadjust, it could throw the ball off a lot down at the pins. Strike in the 3rd for Gilbert. And obviously he made the adjustment on that left lane after back-to-back crossover strikes. And now Josh going for a double to cut the lead to just 1 pin. And that's how you do it. So now we've got us a match. As we watch this strike again in slow motion. Like a vacuum cleaner, just sucking them off the back end of the pin deck. Josh, a double working, going for a turkey and the lead. And another powerful strike for Josh. And now you've got to figure that split he left in the first frame, he must have just missed his mark, because he certainly appears to be lined up. Look at this. That's flush. And now the pressure back on Gilbert. But he handles it. And with that strike, Gilbert moves back out into the lead. Well, as we mentioned earlier, we are bowling on the house shot, and you would expect these two to be able to take advantage of a pretty easy condition. The house shot here is the Kegel Stone Street. Maybe he got a little too deep on that one. The ball didn't drive through and knock out the 5, although he got some pins off the wall to take it out, leave just the 7. But that string of strikes stops after 2, and we have an even match. And Gilbert covers the 7 without a problem. So now Josh moves over to the right lane, working on 3 strikes in a row, and take a 10-pin lead here with another strike in the 5th. Oh no, he sends it wide. and leaves the 2-8-10. Another virtually impossible split. I've seen it made a time or two, but that's about it. The best bet is to just take the count. Go for the 2 and the 8. Oh my goodness, are you kidding me? He didn't even get the 8. So that's 8 out. That'll cost him a couple of pins in count. But most of all, he falls 17 pins behind. Oh, light again, but he rolls the 2 this time. And that one is definitely worth a second look. Watch the 5 pin, the one in the middle of the rack. It will slide behind the 2 and then roll forward and take it out. I told you Josh makes the pins dance. That time he just got them to slow dance. And Gilbert right back on it with a strike in the 6th. And now he can extend the lead to 27 if he can put a double up here. Let's watch this one again. This is solid in the hole. See you later. 10 in the pit. Crunch. So, a couple of opens by Josh has given Gilbert a big advantage. He knows how important that strike was. Now Josh needs to match him to cut the lead back down to 17. And he gets it. Well, we expected this to be something of a strike-a-palooza. That's a solid one. He needs another one right here. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? A light shaker 710. I'm not sure I've ever seen that before. That was like a wall shot. Well, 3 frames without a strike, and each one of them an impossible split. He gave that one a ride. Never had the 710 made on Prodigy. That would have been something. But now, Josh is in trouble. Gilbert with a 31-pin lead working on a double. Oh, and now it's a 41-pin lead. And how he got them all to fall on that hit, I have no idea. Leading a charmed life, I guess. Watch this one, right through the snoot. And they just caved in, and he knows he got away with one there. If that had been an open frame, a split, it would have tightened this match up a lot. That one comes in a little bit high. That could have tripped the floor, but instead he leaves it. He's got a 40-pin lead. But now the situation is this. With a spare, Gilbert will be working at a 228 pace. The best Josh can do is 208 if he strikes in the 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. So as it stands right now, Gilbert is only going to need 6 pins, even if Josh strikes out. but Josh must strike on each ball. And there's one. He can still get to 208. Gilbert would at least have to show up in the 10th. That 5-pin whistles right over into the 7. And again, Josh must strike. And that one's wide, and that'll do it. Gilbert has won the double ball elimination with redemption frames. And he did it in style in the championship match. Josh bowled well, but those 3 non-strikes in the 1st, 5th, and 8th frame, and he paid the maximum penalty on each one. Good strike to finish, but a 188 really doesn't do justice to how well he bowled. Gilbert a possible 238. All right, 227. With a spare here and a strike on the fill ball.
I will say this.
He covers the 9. This will be win number 3 for Gilbert. He joins Josh and Charlie as a 3-time winner. And the more wins you have, the better your chances of winning the Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions coming up on the 23rd of June at AMF Woodstock. And Gilbert wins today on Prodigy Bowlers Tour the double ball elimination with redemption frames. Kind of a different twist. We've done the single ball elimination, we've done the double ball elimination, and now we've done the double ball elimination with redemption frames. And we will visit with our winner, Gilbert, when we return right after this. The Prodigy Bowlers Tour season is winding down. We're in the stretch run right now. Here are some important dates. This weekend, May 12th, 2018, our Roswell Varsity and Junior Varsity Leagues will conduct their championship-deciding team stepladders. Meanwhile, across the country, we'll be filming our first-ever Prodigy Satellite Tour event at AMF Peoria Lanes in Phoenix, Arizona, and hope to have the raw footage in hand sometime next week to begin post-production. The following weekend, May 19th and 20th, we'll hold our league season-ending All-Star Varsity Tournament of Champions to award individual scholarships. And that'll end our regular league season. Then, the GYBT Tournament of Champions will be held the first weekend in June, and Prodigy Bowlers Tour will be there to bring you the exciting championship round in one of the divisions. Then on Saturday, June 23rd, we'll hold our first ever Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions at AMF Woodstock to award this year's coveted trophy pin and name the Prodigy Player of the Year. Finally, we'll cap off the season with our second annual Adult Youth Scotch Doubles 9-pin no-tap event on Saturday, June 30th. That's the last Saturday before the 4th of July. Last year, we witnessed the first and only 300 game ever bowled on Prodigy at that event. And this year's event should prove just as exciting.
He did it!
So strap in, buckaroos. The Prodigy Bowlers Tour's Season 2 is winding down. You won't want to miss a minute of it. Well, there you have it. The last 2 names go on top of the list, as Gilbert made the shots that mattered, while Josh just got some of the worst breaks you could imagine, leaving 3 impossible splits. So Gilbert secures win number 3 as the final few weeks wind down before our season-ending Prodigy Bowlers Tour Tournament of Champions. And the number of wins you secure will matter mightily in your quest for winning the coveted trophy pin. Speaking of the coveted trophy pin, just wait till Gilbert finds out that I walked off without it when I came to the bowling alley this morning. So there's nothing to sign. But we'll get him to sign the pin again when we see him at the TOC in a few weeks.
Gilbert, you're not going to believe this.
What happened?
I walked off and left the coveted trophy pin at home today.
Why?
So you can sign my hand if you like.
Is there a Sharpie anywhere?
No.
Alright.
We'll just get you to sign it the next time we see you.
Alright.
Which may be at our Tournament of Champions,
Tournament of Champions.
where you will be a 3-time winner,
Yes.
which will give you a more favorable seating for the final step ladder. We'll be explaining that as we go along.
Wait, who's the number 1 right now?
The 5-time winner, the only 5-time winner, is Christian.
Christian.
You're a good little bowler. You just keep showing up and you keep winning.
Thank you.
So how long have you been bowling?
A little bit less than a year or a year now, I believe.
So you must have a coach over there at Brunswick Zone Lilburn. Who do you work with?
I work with my dad, my coach.
Your dad is your coach.
Yep.
Now, I've spoken with your dad, or I should say I've tried to speak with your dad.
Yeah.
Your dad doesn't speak a lot of English.
Yeah, language barriers, you know.
Little language barrier. So he teaches you in what language?
Korean.
Well, you are one heck of a little bowler.
Thank you.
And a good little kid too. So congratulations on a job well done today.
Thank
This
you.
was a hard-fought win.
Thank you. Bye.